are live! The Kickstarter for the deluxe edition of the Lawful Times, rewritten and edited, is now live over on Kickstarter. If you would like to support myself, Wraithmark Creative, and a charity, you can go ahead and scoop up one of the deluxe editions of my first two books combined into one. The cover art by Lena Richards on this just captures the depravity, horror, and seduction I truly envisioned for these books. Being able to be an art director for my own special deluxe edition is just an insane dream come true. So go ahead and check it out in the links down below. All of my profits on this project will be going to a charity my audience chooses once we are funded. Fair warning, this is a deluxe edition, so the price is a bit higher here. But if you would still like just to read my two books rewritten and re-edited after the Kickstarter is over, I will just be releasing an ebook of the contents as well for you all to check out on your e-readers and etc. But without any further ado, let's get into the news. Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy Schnoss. I am your disheveled goblin host, Daniel Green, and I have spent all day on the phone with various lawyers and government people around the city of Boston complaining about my landlord issues, and I'm going to take all of that frustration, bottle it up, and expel it into the news here, starting with maybe the greatest book cover I have seen for an epic fantasy book, and that is because the Broken Binding has actually released their art for the first book in the Malazan series. Yes, they've been doing it a bit out of order here, and who gave you the right to go this hard? With art by @VargasNi, this depiction of Gardens of the Moon, the composition, personality, and representation of Anamander Rake and Dragna is just off the charts. And huge congrats to the artist, Broken Binding, Patriclio, all y'all for putting something this awe-inspiring together, and I cannot wait to see what the final layout is going to look like once it's transformed into the book cover. Those chains flying around. I like it. But this is going to take us right on over to a reveal from Del Rey Books for the upcoming release, Water Moon, by Samantha Soto Yamboa, described as a dreamy fantasy novel about a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets, masked behind a cozy ramen shop. Available January 14th of 2025. And I gotta say, Del Rey, did you not credit the cover art? Where is the credit for the cover artist, Del Rey? It's in the top comment. Okay, well then, that's fine. All right, I won't get upset. I will say though, this is a good cover, but combined with the premise, I think it actually elevates a little. They are vibe-wise quite complementary. And I love a good premise for a story to be formed around, like a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets. Okay, I'm in. I'm down. Take me to your ramen shop. But this next cover reveal is coming from an article, and they never remember to credit the cover artist, so let's get ready to get a little ranty and take a look at They Bloom at Night by Trang Than Tran, described as a red algae bloom has taken over Mercy, Louisiana, ever since a devastating hurricane. Mutated wildlife lurks in the waters that rises by the day, but Mercy has always been a place where monsters walk in plain sight, especially at the heart, the Cove, where Noon's life was upended long before the storm at a party her older brother insisted on. And oh no, they credited the cover artist. That's okay, so I can't get upset. Elena Messi did a wonderful job, so instead, let's just talk about it. I think this has, again, quite the impact. It certainly, with the premise, raises questions, the detail around the eye.
Those eyes that forever will retain their haunting quality.
But just my dumb brain problem with me that I really hate, any art now where the eyes look a little bigger like this, I just get reminded of those annoying YouTube thumbnails where they blow up the eyes all the time to get your attention. And I really hate that because that shouldn't be where my brain goes. But overall, the underwater effect is really well executed, and that red algae coming in creeps me out, just the proper amount. Oh, am I smelling some people enjoying these cover reveals? Then let's finish it off with two more, because we also have a cover reveal for Riven Earth by Zamar Amer. And like, they put the cover artist even in the tweet. How am I supposed to get mad and engaging with stuff? Am I changing the industry? Is suddenly cover artists getting credited everywhere? This is good. Getting into the actual cover though, this looks like a bush lion about to go up against a knight with a fire sword. Talk about doomed for failure on the lion's behalf. You shouldn't take that fight, man. Have you not played Pokemon? Full disclosure, I don't know anything about art, so I don't know what to call this style where it's kind of smeared a little bit, but has that kind of vivid impact. The color choices are absolutely working. Having that lighter blue sink into that darker red really does a good job of catching the eye. But the premise actually reads, the world has stopped turning, burned by a blazing sun, thrust into eternal winter. Life survives only in the sunset forest. I like that we're having a theme a bit emerge here with a couple of these. It's the natural threat. Fantasy News, Nature's Revenge, Fantasy News cover edition. And the cover artist was Andrew Melski, properly credited and everything. And then finally, I have been given a proper opportunity here for rage and anger, specifically by friend of the channel, Rob J. Hayes. How could you? Because he tweeted out the cover for his upcoming release, Fleet Champions. Titan Hoppers #3. Coming out May 14th. And Rob, where's the cover? Oh, he put it in the replies, son of a I have no one to be angry at, yet so much rage inside. What could possibly provide me with the outlet that I need today? What's the next news? Looks kind of good, actually. No, this is a Funko Pop video game that is coming out for the PlayStation Network. I was tagged in it a plethora of times, and of all my reasons to dislike Funko Pops, very few of them translate over to a video game. I'm just not gonna lie to you all. And this looks like a gory, fun time. The characters you're playing as, still the closest representation to a real-life demon I've ever seen, those eyes. But my reaction to this is actually more just, finally, they're doing something with Funko Pop as a brand aside from just more characters. And we heard about this a long time ago. It's just coming to fruition here. So, like with many things, I shall wait and see. It's going to be released September 13th and will be a PlayStation exclusive. Speaking of PlayStation exclusives, there actually is something for me to be a bit peeved at. Oh no, wait, they apologized and it was a pretty good apology. God. What's happening here? And that is because over the last week, the smash hit game Helldivers has gone through a roller coaster of a scandal. For those of you unaware, Helldivers is a very Starship Troopers-esque game that pokes fun at the same thing Starship Troopers does while allowing you to massacre endless hordes of bugs with your friends. It's been widely praised since its release, but that was kind of immediately reversed when PlayStation announced that you are going to have to log into the PlayStation Network to continue playing it, even on PC. And if you were in another country where the PlayStation Network is not available, tough tomatoes, you don't get to play anymore apparently. A beautiful thing occurred though, where all of the Helldivers who have partaken in the massacre of said bugs turned around and instead put forth their righteous fury onto PlayStation and the developers of Helldivers. This is their general review chart before this controversy happened, and this is what happened once oh, wow, that is a turn in a graph. As someone who likes data, beautiful. Of course, this level of fan backlash also came with the expected content creator deluge of video criticism, posts on Reddit, attacks on Twitter. Don't attack developers, people. And so, PlayStation responded, saying, Helldiver fans, we've heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update. The May 6 update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network accounts linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th, will not be moving forward. We're still learning what is best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans. Still, little peeved they tried it, but at least they backed down. And apparently they have now taken that chart and made it a wearable cape in the game, which is a funny as fuck move. And one thing you should definitely note about this whole situation, Arrowhead Studio, the people who made this game, were not the ones who wanted to make this decision, and it was something that it seems Sony was strong-arming them into. And now, with it being reversed, it makes sense why they're kind of leaning into this and making things like a cape. They're not wanting it in the first place, and apparently the CEO himself is thanking Sony for reacting to the community's concerns so efficiently. But then this takes us to some Neil Gaiman news. The rage can be put aside. I have been satiated by seeing some people do the right thing, and instead, I just want to tell you about an exciting project from an author I like. And that is because Neil Gaiman is teaming up with Graphic India for an animated pick called Cinnamon. Gaiman, who wrote the original short story, is working to change it into a screenplay and then partnering with Sharad Devarajan, Sarina Khan, and Sujafa S.V., with the story described as, born with pearl eyes that render her blind to the physical world, Cinnamon's destiny is shaped forever when a mysterious talking tiger appears, offering to lead her through the wonders and trials of the wild. Cinnamon begins a perilous adventure that will shape her path and test her resolve. She enters a hidden realm where the line between the mundane and the mystical is as thin as a whisper, and where the ancient wisdom of India breathes life into a jungle thrumming with secrets. We don't know too much more beyond that yet, but of course, if you'd like to stay updated, just hit like and subscribe. And I hate how much this next story genuinely excited me. It should not be something I want to encourage or spend my money on, but there is no doubt Kayla and I one night will be sitting down to watch Mickey vs. Winnie. Glenn Douglas Picard is set to direct a horror slasher based on Steamboat Willie going up against Winnie the Pooh. You know you're gonna watch it too. Don't deny it. That is something where you're like, that's trash. There's gonna be... Mickey gonna kill Winnie? I mean, obviously the bear's gonna kill the mouse. The mouse has changed copyright law. Who's gonna throw down? This is why I gotta know. The director apparently did write the original script here, and the film will apparently follow two convicts in the 1920s who escape into a cursed forest only to be dragged and consumed in the depths of the dark forest's muddy heart. A century later, a group of thrill-seeking friends unknowingly venture into the same woods. Their Airbnb getaway takes a horrifying turn when the convicts mutate into twisted versions of childhood icons Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh, and emerge to terrorize them. In a horrific spectacle, Mickey and Winnie clash, painting the woods in a gruesome tableau of blood, a chilling testament to a curse's insidious power. This will be bad. It might even do some kind of spiritual damage to the art of filmmaking. Still gonna watch it though. But before we get to the quickie news, a quick word from today's sponsor. You know what's natural as you get older? Worrying about your luscious locks. We all want to make sure we don't end up losing some hair, and we want to encourage healthy hair growth. I'm about to be 30, so things like that are on my mind. My body is changing, and thankfully, Keeps is here to help. I mean, seriously, their products have been proven to be 90% effective to increase your hair growth up to 35%, with most people seeing results in just 6 months. They've helped over 1 million people keep their hair with over 4,500 5-star reviews. They have FDA-approved treatment options and a 2-in-1 that provides both options, as you can imagine, within one. And of course, it's all delivered right to your door because this is 2024. I've been using their thickening shampoo and like pomade and stuff, which is why I have only this bottle here to show you now. But seriously, the results have made me feel more confident in my hair. I used to just be a wiry-haired kid. I'd show you a photo right now, but I don't. I look like the mom from that 70s show. I'm not going to show you that. Just remember that you're not alone and you're not out of options because hair loss stops with Keeps. For a special offer to get started, go to keeps.com/DanielGreen or click the link in the description box down below. That's KEEPS.com/DanielGreen. Back to the video. I'm excited to say that this week's Quickie News includes the fact that Discworld is going to be getting a new book titled Designing Terry Pratchett's Discworld. Written and illustrated by Carl Kibdi, who has a long history with the franchise, and it will be released November 7th of 2024. Of course, you can tell from the title this is not going to be a new Discworld entry in terms of a novel, but instead a look behind the scenes at how these books came together, art direction, stories, stuff like that. Real solid good candy for Discworld nerds to dig on into. Kidby, who has apparently been with this franchise for 30 years, described it as a walk down memory lane and a glimpse of where Terry's legacy will take us next. And then finally, Francis Ford Coppola's science fiction epic Megalopolis has had its first clip released, and it's a good clip. I recommend you check it out, but it doesn't tell us too much of what's going on here. This is a project that notoriously Francis Ford Coppola has been working on since the 1970s, and it seems that Francis Ford Coppola, after all of these delays, finally just self-financed the film, putting up an equivalent of $120 million to get it done. The movie will star Adam Driver alongside Aubrey Plaza and many other notable names, but not much is known about the plot, just that it's from the same mind that gave us Apocalypse Now and The Godfather. Okay, the more I've looked into this, the more excited I am about this movie. I'm not claiming Francis Ford Coppola has a perfect record by any means, but he is without a doubt one of the most interesting people to ever direct a film in terms of what his output has been. And so him taking on a science fiction epic that all you really know is about is the end of the world, putting up his own money as a passion project and dedicating it to his past wife, like this seems like something that's going to be, no matter what, ambitious. And as a fan of science fiction, that makes me happy. And it looks like after the first screening took place, a brief synopsis of the plot has actually been released, and it reads, "The destruction of a New York City-like metropolis after an accident pits clashing visions of the future with ambitious architectural idealist Caesar, Adam Driver, on one side. On the other, his sworn enemy, City Mayor Frank Cicero, Giancarlo Esposito. The debate becomes whether to embrace the future and build a utopia with renewable materials or take the business as usual rebrand strategy, replete with corruption and power brokering. In between their struggles is the mayor's socialite daughter, Julia, Natalie Emanuel, as a restless young woman who grew up around power and is looking for meaning in her life." And now, some rather unfortunate news here in the fantasy space. Bernard Hill, best known for his roles in the Titanic and of course The Lord of the Rings, has unfortunately passed away. This guy was a part of something that I feel like I can safely say was an integral part of probably everyone watching this video's either existing or blooming love of the fantasy genre. And I'll end this with Sean Astin's words on the man. He said, "We love him. He was intrepid, he was funny, he was gruff, he was irascible, he was beautiful." To close out the fantasy news, a book published by one of you, a member of the Goblin Horde.
And today's Indie Pub promo is Risers and Dreamers by Rissa Renee, pitched as for fans of Cassandra Clare and her Shadowhunter series. 16-year-old Junbei may very well be your typical high school student, but the Rose Cross Academy is not your typical high school. Instead of history assignments and English papers, June trudges through alchemy mixes and demonology homework. His sophomore year in the Dreamer program at the Rose Cross Academy is just as predictable as last year, starting off with the standard spring visits to rid the city of infestations from civilian nightmares, spring cleaning, as the Academy calls it. But June finds out the hard way that some nightmares do not want to be cleaned when one of those nightmares drags him into the world of demons, a world known simply as Below.
But this has just been your latest episode of Fantasy News. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Big thank you to Keeps for sponsoring today's video. And if you would like to back my Kickstarter, the deluxe edition of The Lawful Times, link in the description down below. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.